You're still watching the Breakfast Show, dear viewers, and time now for our first of the two topics that we have up for discussion here in the program, and that is Egypt's national dialogue, which kicked off on May the 3rd. And to shed more light on the dialogue, we are delighted to be joined over the phone by Dr. Maryan Gerges, analyst. Dr. Maryan, a very good morning to you, and thank you for joining us. And first of all, we need to know more about the purpose of the national dialogue and its structure, of course, knowing that it was a proposed initiative by His Excellency, the President.
Yes, good morning to you and your dear viewers. First of all, let me express my due respect to the General Coordinator of the National Dialogue, Dr. Gerges, and the Councillor Mahmoud Fawzi, the Head of the Technical Secretary of the National Dialogue, and of course the Board of Trustees. For all this effort and their efforts during the past year in the National Training Academy, which the National Dialogue was organized under the umbrella of the National Training Academy, and for all these preparatory sessions, we all know that there were 23 preparatory sessions during the past year since the President Abdel Fattah Sisi proposed the national and the invitation to the National Dialogue till the opening session of the National Dialogue. They really worked hard, about maybe more than 184 hours with minimum or the average 8 hours per day to lay the foundations and the accesses and the rules and the topics to be discussed in the National Dialogue. Of course, the aim of the National Dialogue is to provide a platform for all the Egyptians and to find common ground for all the Egyptians to discuss the current challenges and to tackle new paths that we are facing. Especially, we are facing new challenges, new economic and new security challenges, which were not present since the invitation of President Abdel Fattah Sisi in April 2022, and of course, it's one of the tools to pave the way to the new republic.
Right, Dr. Maryan. So, what about the different tracks and topics tackled in the sessions?
Yes, as we all know, that Dr. Gerges said that all the sessions will be on air and it will be held on Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. Of course, on Sundays they will discuss the political axis, and on Tuesdays they will discuss the economic axis, and on Thursday they will discuss the social axis. Of course, it will the National Dialogue maybe is faced with 113 topics, including all the topics and all the challenges that the Egyptian state is facing, except three major issues, of course, amending the constitution, Egyptian's foreign policy, and the national strategic security. All are invited on the table to discuss and to tackle the new paths to solve our problems. All the political forces, even the liberals, the lefties, the opposition forces, and maybe the political forces asked for guarantees that their recommendation will be implemented and will be passed to President Abdel Fattah Sisi. All segments from the society are being represented in the National Dialogue, and of course the National Dialogue, one of the aims of the National Dialogue is to put the demands of people in front of all the authorities and in front of President Abdel Fattah Sisi. Of course, the National Dialogue is based on the Egyptian Constitution 2014 and very consistent with the vision of the Egyptian state 2030.
Yes, Dr. Maryan, could you tell us, please, about the highlights of the previous sessions of the National Dialogue so far and what is expected in the upcoming stage?
Yes, of course. As we know, the first year or the preparatory year, they prepared the many parties, the different parties that's going to share in the National Dialogue. But in the opening session, we saw many words for different parties and different from all the segments of the Egyptian society. And as I told you, we are trying to find common ground to exchange views and set priorities for the national work in the upcoming stages and finding solutions. As I told you in the very beginning, that challenges increased over the Egyptian state since the invitation of President Abdel Fattah Sisi in the past years. And of course, there are principles for the national dialogue like understanding, not persuasion. It's not a debate. The national work or the national priorities is very prioritized over the personal affiliations.
Right. Now, Dr. Maryan, His Excellency the President was keen on addressing the inaugural session. So could you please shed light on that development?
Yes, of course. You all saw the recorded message of President Abdel Fattah Sisi that was present out. It was aired on the opening session, and he was very keen to deliver many messages for the Egyptians and for the whole world. One of the very important message that he was keen to say that the Egyptian state is very transparent, and we are talking very transparently and honestly with all the clarity, and I can see that Egypt is implementing its experience with democracy for the first time, or for the first real time, we can say this. Also, President Abdel Fattah Sisi, His Excellency, said that he can see many personnel in Egypt that are very professional, that they can share their views and they can tackle many problems and many challenges that we are facing right now.
Yes, and Dr. Maryan, why is it important, in your opinion, for the dialogue to include the largest number of political forces from all streams?
Yes, of course, we know that when we are facing a problem, we have to see this problem from different angles. We have to take many opinions. We have to hear each other. And I think even the countries that held national dialogues like Ethiopia, Tunisia, Ireland, in the climate change, of course, this experience that embraced many political parties at the beginning of the output, we are gaining many things, and we are gaining many experience, and we are gaining many solutions. Let me tell you a very clear example in the economic access. The Egyptian, for example, the Egyptian Business Association prepared many various recommendations and discussions in various economic sectors to be participated by the experts and many specialities addressing the investments, the priority, the productive sector, the industry, increasing the export, which will, of course, make a positive growth rate for the Egyptian economy.
And of course, we are living in the midst, Dr. Maryan, of many challenges, regional and global crises, if we can say so. So could you tell us about the importance of such a dialogue, the national dialogue, especially in light of the challenges?
Yes, Dr. Gerges, since the Sudanese crisis, said it's becoming an urgency to hold the national dialogue since this crisis. Of course, it's in the first beginning, it's a security crisis, and of course, due to geographic limitations and due to many issues, we are very keen to end this crisis in peace. And this is one of the important items to be included in the national dialogue. And of course, many political and economic access to be and topics to be discussed in the national dialogue. From one of this, what was very important, the political rights, the parliament representatives, the human rights, the trade unions, and the political parties, reforming the electoral system and amending the pre-trial detention laws.
Yes, you mentioned the trade unions, and of course we saw His Excellency the President on May Day, Labor Day, on the 1st of May, giving a number of decisions regarding workers in an attempt to improve their conditions, and even putting special help to the irregular workers. So could you tell us about what is expected from the dialogue when it comes to the cause of workers?
Of course, when it comes to workers, we can see the support of His Excellency Abdel Fattah Sisi to the industrial sector in Egypt in general, and of course, to the Egyptian workers, because they are the very core of the economy, of the Egyptian economy. Especially these times we are facing a global economic crisis. So in the economic axis, we can see that also in the Egyptian dialogue, and from the keenness of his president, Fattah Sisi, we are talking about the workers and the rights, and making a safe environment for these workers. Also tackling and discussing the inflation, the price hike issues, the public debts, and the budget deficit, the private and the public investor, and the industry, of course, committee, and the food security committee.
Yes, and what we should expect from the dialogue? Should we expect recommendations, and in which fields, in which areas you think, Dr. Maryan, we will receive recommendations?
Yes, I can see that the Egyptian people and we are all waiting for the output of the national dialogue, and we are all expecting much about the national dialogue. And I think at the end of this schedule of the national dialogue, we can see many solutions and many new ideas from all the political parties and from all those who shared in the national dialogue, that can reflect positively on our economic and on our political states and on all our problems that we are facing. Not problems also, but we are expecting to see more creative ideas in all fields and in all aspects.
Yes, and in his words, in the recorded speech before the dialogue, His Excellency the President said that Egypt possesses competent minds, sincere wills, and a determination of work, all of which put Egypt in the lead. So could you tell us again about the importance of His Excellency the President's support for the dialogue, and what we should, as Egyptians, await from the dialogue?
Yes, President Fattah Sisi, since the invitation, he is very supportive, he is very keen, and even he emphasized that he will attend all these sessions. At the end of these sessions, that he will attend all these sessions with himself, and is very keen to follow up with the results of this national dialogue.
Right. Dr. Maryan Gerges, a political analyst, thank you very much for your time and your rich input, and a very good morning to you. Dear viewers, that was topic number one here on The Breakfast Show. We'll still have a tourism related topic and other items here in the program, so please stay with us.